want to bring you greetings as well from a nation that is in crisis. I'm not going to sugarcoat the gravity of what we face right now in the United States. This is the most significant threat to American democracy since the Civil War. Donald Trump in our country is trying to end our democracy. We are not on the verge of a totalitarian takeover. We are in the middle of it. He is trying to seize control of our courts, of our law enforcement, of our media, of our elections. His goal is oligarchic capture.
Hi, hello, how you doing? This is Navigator, coming to bring you some interesting stuff today for my podcast. I got a senator from, I want to say Kentucky, named Chris Murphy. He's getting heat because he fell for IRG propaganda, where they said that Iran, which they don't have, a shadow fleet took down American ships, and he's posted awesome. Now he's getting backlash because he realized what he posted was so un-American and so, honestly, not just American, it was so utterly anti-woman because they hate women, and anti-gay because if you're gay there, they'll push you off a house. And just honest, and yeah, he's getting so much hate from both sides, and now he's trying to backdraft from it, but it's not working. Take a look for yourself.
Lawmaker this morning was denying he was cheering a report of 26 Iran-linked vessels evading the U.S. blockade. Well, you can read what he posted. It looks like it. It's in all caps. He thinks it's awesome. This is Senator Chris Murphy reacting with one word about reports of vessels going around our blockade. Now, this is since the beginning of this all started. It's not in a day. He doesn't mention a timeline, anything. He is going for full flex and attention here, and boy, did he get some. Critics were quick to respond. Politicians have been censured for far less. This one word should cost you re-election. One poster saying, Murphy exhibited disgusting anti-American behavior. A spokesperson for the senator's office called the tweet sarcasm or post. The senator followed up with this. Okay, Twitter, I can't believe I need to clarify this, but obviously Trump's bungled mismanagement of this war is not awesome. As I have said a million times, here, it's a disaster and he should end the war immediately. My tweet was something called sarcasm. Which part? All of that is. I can't even tell. Brett Velikovich is a former Army Special Ops Intel analyst and Fox News contributor. All right, I just want to start with that point because I often hear you and others who've served say, we need to be on the same page as we go forward. This is not only not on the same page, he is loud and proud.
Well, it's embarrassing what he did, Harris. And, you know, he should sit down with some of the soldiers who are missing limbs right now from Iranian bombs. We need to all be collectively working against this threat. And the Iranians want us to fractured internally. That's what's worked for them in the past. That's how they've won in the past, and they've whistled past all of these peace processes before and haven't been held accountable. But for me, look, more than a week into this blockade, the scoreboard really tells the story of what's working and what isn't. 27 ships have already turned around. That's deterrence in real time. That means the strategy of the U.S. military and this administration is working even before headlines catch up. The U.S. Navy doesn't need to fire a missile every time to prove dominance now. Sometimes the most powerful weapon is credibility. Sometimes the best diplomat in the room, Harris, is often the U.S. aircraft carrier parked offshore. And when illicit commercial vessels now see American warships enforcing the straits and decide to reverse course, that means the message landed. And President Trump, look, he said the blockade stays in full force until a deal's reached, and that is exactly the right posture. We need to get behind that, regardless of what side of the aisle you are on. And I see this administration doing finally what leadership from our country requires.
Comments in Barcelona when he went off the map, addressing a bunch of socialists, ripping our country, saying we're run by a dictator. Governor Waltz, even more embarrassing, really to himself. He just doesn't realize it. Ripping our country, saying the most horrific things, saying our president basically has lost his mind. Judging by the guy that he was trumpeting, Joe Biden. He was the biggest defender of Joe Biden. This guy goes to Barcelona and rips our president. And then you have Chris Murphy. When the Iranians came out and they said at least 20, and they put this out, at least 26 Iranian shadow fleet vessels bypassed the U.S. blockade, Murphy put this on a retweet. He wrote, awesome.
He wrote awesome and got backlash from both sides, Democrats and Republicans. The Pentagon said, first of all, that report is completely false. Then they called Murphy's reaction shameful. Senator John Cornyn and the libs of TikToks, they accused Murphy of being a traitor and for rooting for Iran. And that's what we've heard from the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. He keeps saying, whose side are you on? As Americans, you shouldn't be rooting for Iran. You should be rooting for our country, even if you didn't vote for the president. But then, Lawrence, what did he do? How did he try to fix this yesterday?
Yeah, so after all the pushback, because many Americans are outraged, many people in the military are outraged, and reporters are asking him, what did you mean by this? And he said that it was all sarcasm. Here he is.
Twitter's become kind of a cesspool. I probably should give up on sarcasm on Twitter. Obviously, anybody that's seen anything that I have said about Trump's war knows that I think it's bungled, mismanaged, and he should end it as quickly as possible. But sarcasm is not something, I guess, that's allowed on Twitter any longer.
Lawrence, it had nothing to do with Twitter. This has nothing to do with X at all. That's your comment. And if it was an anomaly, where did that come from? No, that's exactly what he says. If you watch both senators from Virginia, if you watch him, Senator Kelly from Arizona, and if you see Chris Murphy, he's by far the worst. They are actually seemingly cheering for Iran, making sure that any type of Iran defiance is underlined and highlighted. And talking about this war being bungled from the day it started and saying it never should have happened when they're already on the record talking about Iran needed to be addressed in a nuclear program that can't take root. So I don't buy for 1 second that this is sarcasm.
Yeah, I think what happened is he got pushback from both sides, realized this was so anti-American. He probably sat with his team and said, okay, what should I say? And then they said, well, you could say it was sarcasm.
Senator Chris Murphy just put out an apology post on Twitter saying he was talking sarcasm when he pretended to be rooting for Iran, which we see a lot of the Democrats seem to be doing backhandedly.
You know, sarcasm is something that you do to make a clear point. And I think the point that he was making here was that if it was sarcastic is that he is siding with Iran, that he isn't siding with the president or with the American people or with the American military. And I think we're at a point now where Democrats have tried to weaponize foreign policy to the point that they're siding with America's enemies. And that's a problem.
We've seen that, not just from the far left, but we're seeing it from other people. It's just anybody who hates Trump. It's like, if it means Iran winning, that's good because it's bad for Trump. And that seems to be the theme.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, Democrats now will latch on to anything they possibly can to get at the president. And if that means rooting for America's adversaries, I mean, remember, Iran is a country that we've talked about for decades being a serious and at times existential threat to the American people. I mean, to the extent that Iran is even pursuing nuclear weapons, which they have been. That's a real threat. And you would think that every American, no matter which side of the aisle you're on, could kind of unite around the idea that we don't want some crazy lunatics running Iran having the most dangerous weapons known to man. But that's the position that we're in right now. Yeah, that's just embarrassing. Not only did he's pushing. I don't believe he thought he was just pushing their propaganda. And let's be honest, he wasn't being sarcastic. He was happy. Because we live in a situation now where politics is different. The Democrats hate Trump so much, they would rather see American soldiers, be unalive than give them a win. Like how they were rooting for Iran to go capture that American soldier and pilot, just so they can have, look, see, this is Trump's fault. Well, they were cheering on Iran, hunting them down. And no one really believes it anyway, but we all know this. We know that the Democrats want Iran to win, and they hate because they're post-American. They hate America. They're the party of foreigners and anything anti-West. They're Islamists, the communists, and the socialists. But those three are incredibly toxic for each other, and you can see them breaking at the seams. And that's going to be funny. But yeah, you can already see it. And not only that, something else I've noticed. And politics has changed too, which is basically this: there's two forces fighting for dominance. There's the one that's wants small government and pro-God, and the other one is Islamists and globalists and anti-God. They're anti-family,
the God side family. So it's Christians versus basically all things that the three worst forms of policy: Islamics, commies, and socialists together versus populism and God. Yeah, it's a battle of good and evil, and it's obvious which one it is. And before you'd say, like, let's be honest. Oh yeah, and they're the party of foreigners. Yeah, and the undocumented. But that's just, don't take my word for it. Here's Murphy admitting that they're the party of the non-American.
You are right that has been the Democratic strategy for 30 years, maybe, and it has failed to deliver for the people we care about most, the undocumented Americans that are in this country.
Yes, and no matter what, do not believe him. He was happy. Again, when the pilot and what was the other guy? I don't know. When the 2 American soldiers fell, they were all rooting for Iran to capture him, just so they can have something against Trump. And it's just shameful and evil, to be honest. Yeah, and disgusting. And now to finish this off with a book from something from the good book. The unforgivable sin. Accordingly, I say to you, all sin will be forgiven, the Son of Man, and whatever blasphemies they may utter. But he who blasphemies against the Holy Spirit never has forgiveness, but is subjected to eternal condemnation, because they said he has an unclean spirit. Thank you. This has been the Navigator Podcast. That's the way the cookie crumbles. See you next time. Please like and comment, maybe.